Hi, Jewish mom. I have a friend who is Hasidic, and she's getting ready for the bar mitzvah of her son, of her oldest son. Very, very exciting. And so I was just paying her a visit yesterday, and so her son comes in, and I guess like their tradition is that a month before the bar mitzvah, then the boy already wears his special Hasidic clothing, and I forget what all the things are called, but wearing his special Hasidic robe and special Hasidic hat, and it was so cute. I like started clapping. It was so exciting to see him in like all of his Hasidic regalia. So I said to the boy, I said, so you're excited? You're going to be reading from the Torah? And he gives me this blank look. You're not going to be reading from the Torah? No. So you're going to be leading davening? You're going to, for your bar mitzvah? It's like, no. You're going to be giving like a speech at Russia? I don't know. No. And the interesting thing was then the mother said that the tradition in their community, and in many Hasidic communities, is in fact that the bar mitzvah boy, all he does is he gets called up to an aliyah. He gets called up to an aliyah to the Torah, and that's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole. I mean, then they have a big party, but that's the bar mitzvah basically. So no reading from the Torah, not necessarily giving a speech, not necessarily not leading the davening, and and I just thought this was really interesting, apropos like what I was talking about last week. I was talking about how Hashem loves us because we have within us chelek eloka mimal, that we have within us this divine soul. We have a bit of Hashem within us, and Hashem loves us. Hashem loves us inherently. And of so many of us, I think most of us, almost all of us, we believe that we have to do something to have self-worth. We have to be, successful. We have to be thin. We have to be wealthy. Maybe we have to be smart. We have to be married. We have to be good mothers. We have to be all these different things that we need to do to have self-worth. But the truth is, our self-worth is inherent. It's within us. It's this feeling. It's this divine soul within us that gives us inherent worth. And that's how I felt about this bar mitzvah boy. That just you're saying you're becoming a bar mitzvah. You're a full member of the Jewish people, and you don't have to read from the Torah necessarily. You don't have to lead davening necessarily. You don't have to give a dress. You don't have to give a talk necessarily. You just are you. Come up. We're giving you an aliyah, and yalla, you are a bar mitzvah boy. You're a full member of the Jewish people. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was really, really nice. A friend of mine, she told me an interesting story this week. She told me a story of there was a man, and he was very poor, and he had a dream that he was going to become like the shamash in a shul. So basically, shamash, what he's doing, he like cleans up, he like organizes like the books in the holy books in the library. But one of his responsibilities is that he keeps a list of the names and who needs when are the yard sites, who needs to be called up for this aliyah, that aliyah, etc. So this man was hoping, this poor man was hoping that he could become a shamash in the shul, but then when he was called for an interview, the person in charge of the hiring said, great, you can do this and this and this. You'd be great at cleaning up, and great at organizing the books, and you're going to keep a list of the yard sites, right? And the man said, oh, I'm sorry, someone else will have to do the yard site part for me because I don't know how to write. And the person in charge of hiring says, no, we have to have a shamash who knows how to write. Like, no, I'll do everything else. I'll work so hard. I'll clean up. I'll do everything. He said, no, you can't be the shamash if you don't know how to write. Okay. So the man was heartbroken, and he didn't get the job. Someone else got the job. Someone else became the shamash of the shul. And what happened was this man ended up moving to a bigger city. He ended up opening up a small business. It became a bigger business and a bigger business. He ended up actually becoming a factory owner and the owner of several factories. He ended up becoming like a wealthy business owner. very successful man. So at one point he was involved in business in some kind of business, I think selling a factory or something like that. And he was sitting with a lawyer and he had to sign the contract. And instead of signing his contract, he still hadn't learned how to write. So he said to the lawyer, I'm sorry, so he just took an ink pad and just went like that with his thumb, and signed that way. And the lawyer said, I can't believe it. You're such a successful man and you don't even know how to sign, you don't even know how to write your name? Just imagine how successful you would be on top of the success you already have if you also knew how to write. And he said, and the man said, he's the now wealthy man said, if I knew how to write, I would still be a shamash in my old town. Okay, the reason I'm sharing this is because I think that very often, like, we look at ourselves and we look at other people and we think, oh, look at her and look at her and look at her. This one's good at making like gourmet cakes, and this one keeps a perfect house, and this one's good at. I have a neighbor. I was just speaking with her at a kiddush at shul, and she's very artistic. She makes these beautiful mishlochei manot, like beautiful shalach manas with a theme and all sorts of very artistic. And now this neighbor, she's gone to take a course to design bars, like at a bar mitzvah or whatever, that they put out all the fruit and put all the candy and whatever. So she's very artistic and is going to be designing bars. And when she said it, I was like, oh, I wish I could do something like that. I wish I was good at that. And if I was good at this and that, I had a daughter this Shabbat. I have a daughter who loves baking. So for this past Shabbat, she made chalot, and she made these fancy cookies with like trina and coconut, and made like a really yummy lasagna. And so then I have another daughter who saw that, and she said, oh, if only I knew how to cook. And I told her this story. I told her the story about the person who couldn't sign his name. And I said, dear daughter, you do so many things. You're good at so many other things. Like, you're good at writing poetry, and you're very sensitive and intuitive and talking with people, and various things which she's very good at, which she's exceptionally good at. And she doesn't bake. She doesn't bake at all. She doesn't cook at all. But it's interesting in the ways in which the story reminded me of the ways in which our abilities can also sometimes be take away from the things but take away from other things. You know, if my daughter was baking, maybe she'd be writing less poetry. So not that one thing is necessarily better or superior to the other, but I'm just saying it's like each, like, whatever. So I hope that you understand me. So I think that like, we have a tendency to look at our weaknesses, but sometimes actually weaknesses enable and give space for other strengths. Okay, so in conclusion, I just want to, I told you the story of my friend's bar mitzvah boy, and in their specific Hasidic community, and he said it's a popular, this is the way that things are done in many Hasidic communities that she's aware of, that the boys when they come bar mitzvah, they don't read from the Torah, they don't lead davening, they don't necessarily give a speech. What they do is they are just called up for an aliyah, just to say like a line in shul, and that's it. Okay, and this reminded me of our inherent worth. That we don't really have to do something to have worth. We just are. We are our divine selves. Our divine self is our divine soul is what gives us worth. Whether we do this or that, whether we're successful at this or that, we are inherently valuable. And another thing to keep in mind is the story of the man who didn't know how to sign his name. But if he knew how to write, it would have held him back. Interestingly enough. And for us, like, we tend to look around and we tend to see our weaknesses as liabilities. Oh, this weakness. So if I didn't have this weakness or this weakness, or if I was good at everything, wouldn't that be amazing? But actually, the truth is, maybe it wouldn't be so amazing. Maybe if we were good at everything, then we wouldn't be doing our other strengths. Maybe if I could design bars like my very artistic neighbor, maybe I wouldn't be spending so much time on JewishMom.com hanging out with you Jewish moms. Who knows? So in conclusion, I want to bless all Jewish moms with an amazing week.